Welcome on into us in college football tonight. Right here. Our Saturday night. Your Saturday night wouldn't be complete without us in college football tonight. We got a lot to get to tonight here. Of course, Alabama. Big win over LSU today. They stay unbeaten and likely number one in the country on Tuesday night. Okay. I'm going to put these games into West Virginia and Texas. We're going to talk right now about West Virginia's decision to go for two late in the game with like 16 seconds left to go for the win. And clearly, Will Greer proved he was his greatness in that moment to get across and secure the 2-point conversion, which got them the win. But we've seen a lot of great things out of Will Greer this year, but the Iowa State game was terrible. Can West Virginia somehow avoid having that happen to them again? Because that really, really hurts when it happens time and time again. You can't have a quarterback play terrible. You're not going to win. You saw it with the Hawkeyes and the Boilermakers. In the key moments of the game, Nate Stanley couldn't make the big plays. Early in the game and then late in the game, a lot of passes were just off the mark. Got to be smart. But when you play well as a quarterback, your team plays very well. And we will also have let's see here. Georgia and Kentucky also today. Big win for the Bulldogs to clinch the SEC East. We know the SEC championship already. We're 4 weeks away from the SEC championship. It'll be 3 p.m. Central Time on CBS. It'll be Georgia and Alabama from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Don't want to miss a thing. We still a lot to be decided in the other conferences, especially the Big Ten. Big race in the West. I have no clue who's going to win that. Very much could be Northwestern. Northwestern right now in the best position. They still have Iowa. They still their final game for Northwestern is against Illinois. So right now Northwestern in a very good position. Northwestern has Iowa, then they've got Minnesota, then they've got Illinois. And it should be very easy for them to win 2 out of those 3. And that would at least give them a share. So if Northwestern wins 2 of the next 3, I think they win the Big Ten crown in the West at least. Because I believe Purdue has 2 conference losses. Iowa has 3 conference losses. So they're done. Wisconsin with 2 conference losses as well. But I do think that that's going to be a very tough race in the Big Ten West. Northwestern lost today. It didn't affect the Big Ten standings. But we'll see what kind of Northwestern teams comes out next week into Iowa City. It'll be a hobble to the finish if Northwestern does end up getting there. They will not play a great competition until the Big Ten Championship, which would give them a spot in the Rose Bowl potentially. The things that we've got on our schedule today, Alabama, of course, rolling against LSU. But Texas Tech, Oklahoma lived up to be a very, very bad defensive game. Oklahoma getting the win in that one. Let's go to the early window. Nebraska and Ohio State. It was really a closer game than we all expected. We expected a tight football game, but instead we didn't expect a tight football game. We got a reasonably tight one. But, things happen to people. We thought that Ohio State was going to roll. Instead, we got a one-possession game at the end, which it happens. The best of them. But it didn't quite happen for Ohio State, at least in the dominating fashion. NC State gets a win today as well. TCU bounces back against Kansas State. And then Florida, an embarrassment at home in the swamp on SEC Network today against Missouri. Let's get to our 3 winners of the day. Here we've got West Virginia, which clearly I really had no faith in them prior to today. It's a victory against Texas. The Mountaineers can play some defense. At least they don't play great defense, but they play defense that gives them a chance to win at the end of the game in the fourth quarter. West Virginia, I didn't think they were as good as Texas, but after today, clearly they are at least a Big 12 contender at the end of the year. They should be able to get to Arlington with 1 or 2 losses on the year, maybe 2. One of those, either Oklahoma or. But if Oklahoma and West Virginia play in the Big 12 championship, that would be the 2 games in 8 days, as they do play on a Friday night at the end of the season on ESPN. Now, my other winner, Missouri, which I mentioned earlier, they went into the swamp and got a victory. Now, it might be a bigger loss for who was it? Florida than it was a win for Missouri, but clearly Missouri has been playing terribly, and to get the win that they did get was amazing. Now, Purdue, big win against Iowa. I felt like after last week, they lost a lot of momentum. To be able to do something 2 times in 3 weeks proves that you can actually do it. This is the second time I have Purdue on my 3 winners list. See my top 4 at the top right of the screen. Got Alabama clearly number 1. Like, you can't play much better than 29-0, I think it was, that they got the win over LSU today. You just can't play much better. My number 2, I got Clemson. I'm sorry, but Clemson, Louisville didn't even show up today. 77. When you put 77 on a team, it just shows that you don't really have mercy at all. Which I can't punish them for putting 77 on the board because, if you lose a game as Clemson, it doesn't look so good because you really haven't beaten anybody, but you are playing the football. Now, my concern for Clemson is when they actually do play somebody in the semifinal of the college football playoff, they wouldn't have had to play anybody since Texas A&M, which was like the second week of the season. And it'll be very interesting to see Clemson play like in a good game because, many of the players have played in big games, but, there's always like the freshman, like Lawrence, I don't believe, has played in big games. At least not like big, like playoff game big. Anything else we have for you tonight? Next Saturday, big games in the Big Ten. Ohio State taking on Michigan State. That should be a thriller in that one. Other great action, including Wisconsin taking on Penn State next week. Penn State, after a big loss today, looking for a rebound to potentially. There's a lot of bowl. Like, the bowl games are going to be very good. And the Big Ten, only one loss in the bowls last year was Michigan. This year, I don't think Michigan's going to lose in the bowls. I think Michigan's got it. Got the college football playoff. Call it. They should be top 4 in this coming week. And which means if they win out, Michigan wins out. Michigan would be in the college football playoff. Most likely, because Michigan does have Ohio State left. Michigan schedule. Let's look at that real quick. Michigan football schedule. They've got Rutgers coming up, which they should take care of business there. Then they've got Indiana. And then you know who they've got. They've got Ohio State at the end of the season. It's going to be the interesting one is going to be that Indiana game. Indiana isn't always the greatest football team, but they can make you play 4 quarters of football, which can, with Michigan's looking ahead, it would be a test for them on the second to last Saturday of November. Okay. Ohio State's schedule now. Let's look that up. They get Michigan State this week. Then they've got Maryland. And then they've got Michigan in the shoe, I believe. So, Ohio State, I think, can win the table. Michigan can win the table. But I think Ohio State's got a tougher schedule. Rutgers is far easier than Michigan State. No doubt about that. Maryland and Indiana are very close. Indiana actually plays Maryland this week, so we'll see. That could have played an impact. So I think that's going to do it for all of us here. on the show. Again, we'll see you all next week. As the College Bowl today on SN is Saturday at 9 a.m. Don't miss a thing. Till then, I'm D. Rodson's football.